Well, I still don't have my boom set up, so I gotta hold this silly microphone. And I cleaned myself up and moved the camera and everything around to show a different wall in the house. It, got to be a bit boring even for me. So I felt like I had to get off something here fairly quickly because um, I pointed out at the end of the last video that when you weaponize ideas of the kind that the woke are doing, and the cultural um, uh, weapons that they're using to try and change things, the tear down that's happening, this kind of advocacy, the activism that's going on right now that's seemingly misplaced and foolish. They're going after Pierre Trudeau now because in Quebec, of course, he's reviled by many as the man who turned the levers to use the War Measures Act back when the FLQ was kidnapping people and killing people, actually, and setting off bombs in post boxes and things of that nature. So they did not. They, I guess, had hoped for a different response from him. But Justin obviously is having none of it at this point. They want to rename the airport in Montreal, and I think there's a couple other things they're looking to do. And Justin's already renamed a building or two, I think, in Ottawa because of social justice warrior types, woke types, indicating that the people who they were named after were not nice people. So where's he going to draw the line? I think it's going to become fairly clear to people that this is a bad direction to go, and the end doesn't come. It just keeps on going. The people who actually are doing this kind of thing, it's like the Cultural Revolution in China in the 60s, 70s, I guess, is really when that hit, and people turned on each other and destroyed many people. I'm sure some of those people who went after the bourgeoisie of China at the time, they are probably members of the richest groups of China right now, because in a place like China, you have to be politically connected to get anything. It's the reason they reacted so severely to us putting under house arrest the CFO of Huawei. She is, I guess, really, people think of it, well, what would happen if the CFO of GM got put in jail or put in under house arrest for extradition purposes in China? How would we react? Well, really, the severity of the reaction and the immediate imprisonment of two Canadians was as a result of the fact that she is only in that position because she is connected. In China, basically the military and the Communist Party control everything. And so if you are not connected there, then you don't get the bounty and you don't get the positions. And so, I mean, there was a guy, Jack Ma, who was connected to the previous regime, not Deng Xiaoping, and got a lot of his start as a result of his connections with them, made a lot of them rich with Alibaba, and he's one of the richest men in the world right now. And his latest startup, which was going to go public, a finance company, got quashed, and he got thrown in jail. It's kind of like as though a banker on Bay Street had his latest business prevented from launching by the government. And not only that, he was taken off the street and disappeared for quite some time to be re-educated. That's the kind of system they have. So that happened. And that is obviously dangerous, wrong. And I think there's been some comments on the other YouTube entry that talked towards that. But one of the other things that, so what is it that we want? What kind of a society do we want? And what we've got, and it's a term that we don't use that often, is a meritocracy. It's based on merit in some cases. Connections, of course, there's a lot of connections involved in the high-level jobs. I mean, you get the odd Elon Musk out there who comes out of nowhere and creates and controls, manages giant companies, but even those guys, the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musks of the world, it's rare that they're very good at managing these large things. They're idea men and often are poor at managing and getting efficiencies out of large organizations, especially if they've never been in one before. And also the people who run for political office, and the way things are now, are not often the most gifted. And I think we've already mentioned it. You kind of, when you have the kind of media that we do, going after people the way they do now, it drives good people away. And we've already talked a little bit about how maybe we go towards doing better there, but we need to do better. We need to have principled people, and we need to ignore the noise and support those people with principles. There's a lot of noise. Various media outlets will try to take people down, and frankly, we need to notice when that's happening. We need to notice when they're making a mountain out of a molehill and react accordingly to the media that's doing that. When it comes in general to the kind of people who fight against the meritocracy, these people, the critical social justice people, they're based in a philosophy where it's all about personal narrative. They don't, and I'll have to do a separate one when I've done some research on this. It's somewhat arcane, but it's critical to understanding why they are the way they are and what it is they're really talking about. They use words and change their meaning, do it on purpose. Basically, if you can't explain an important principle of what you're expounding simply, quickly to people, if you're just telling them, do the research, I'm not going to go through all the effort of trying to explain it to you. Well, guess what? That's a dodge. If they're unable to take something that's complex and break it down into simple terms that can be understood by virtually anybody, then they're simply not interested in doing. They're hiding behind the complexity, because you see all the time physicists, some of the most famous physicists out there are the ones who are able to take complex things like quantum mechanics and make it understandable, at least as much as possible. Some of the best physicists say, if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. So I think that's probably true, but at least some of the more important aspects of it, they take great pains to try and explain these things. They take the great pains to try and explain astrophysics to people. They love it. They think it's, one of their favorite things to do is to stand up in front of people and talk about their favorite thing. Who are these people who are at the root of this movement? Where the people from academia, where are they? Why are they hiding? To me, they're just hiding because they know the weaknesses behind the way of thinking. I think they're not too anxious to debate, and they're not too anxious to come out in the open, because what happens is, like the Cultural Revolution, people will come after them from their own side. Plus, I don't think they're anxious to debate because they've tried it and it doesn't end very well for them. It's more like a religion than anything else. So anyway, meritocracy is something we need to protect. The meritocracy of our research companies and our engineering companies and hopefully our corporations, and as much as possible. The best people need to rise to the top if we're going to succeed. And that's one of the weaknesses of the Chinese structure, actually, is you end up with friends and relations and people connected running things, and typically they aren't the best. Now they understand this, of course, and have built as much free market as I guess they're able to tolerate for periods of time, but it's not endemic. It's not the natural way there. So we have that advantage, and frankly, it needs to be worked on, because it seems as though we're not getting that direction from the academies right now. Anyway, another beautiful sunny day, and I guess it's going to be a few more weeks before the vaccinations really hit their stride. But here's hoping that our meritocracy will come through for us. All right, thanks everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.